Hey everybody, this is Professor Lilly, and I just want to talk to you briefly about what we're doing this week, and mostly to go over the guidelines for the WordPress website assignment, which is due wrapped up by this next Sunday, November 8th. Um, and as you know, the what we're doing this week is relatively simple. Obviously, you are supposed to be going through and making sure you've done all of these aspects of the guidelines that I will go over in a second on your website. And then for class sessions, we have our critiques this week. So I've asked everybody to sign up for critiques for at one of these dates. Um, Please, 10 would be the maximum. So don't add. Let me just make sure no one's gone more than 10. Yeah, it looks like a lot of people haven't signed up. So this last Thursday, November 5th, that's going to be considered for full. I'm sorry, at 12:30. So no one else signed up for 12:30. Um, I really don't want more than 9 or 10 people, just because having 10 or fewer students makes it a lot easier to go through critiques. And it looks like all the other sessions have plenty of spots, which means that some people still need to sign up. Um, so go ahead and sign up. You have to participate in these critiques. They're going to be relatively informal. With only 10 people, then we don't probably need to split into groups, breakout rooms, and we'll just go through and I'll ask you to show me your website. So at the beginning of this session, make sure you already have your website open in a browser, and then I will give everyone a chance to share your screen, and you'll just say a little bit about your theme and your design. And you can mention if there's anything you've been struggling with or what you're happy about. And I'll give you some feedback, and so it'll be relatively informal, but it's still good. It's a good opportunity to kind of think about what you still need to do. If you haven't done everything, then you could acknowledge that, okay, I need to still add my resume page or this or that. But the more complete your site is, then the better I think the feedback can be, so that then you can really focus on things more like the look and feel of your site and making sure your theme is all the way customized. So yeah, so again, make sure you sign up for one of those sessions. Everybody, it's going to be part of the grade, that everyone participates in the critiques either Tuesday at 11 or 12:30 or Thursday at 11 or 12:30. So let me just go through. Obviously, you know that you're still using, or you should still be using WordPress Essentials. Um, Let me chime in there real quickly. Um, as you know, um, so I asked you to focus on last week content management, um, and using the block editor. Most of these other aspects, like working with sidebars, it kind of depends on your theme. If there's and we're going to focus on widgets later. So if there's some content your theme has put in, like a sidebar and things like that, you can go through into the widgets editor and take those out now, or you can wait until we get to the final project. And if you're having difficulty or just want to get more into the blocks for adding for content on your pages, then go up to chapter 5 here, and you could see some of these more, like the columns block is a little bit more of a layout block, giving you some more options other than mostly just placing things on top of each other. Um, Yeah, and so I mean that's probably the only one you need to go forward. But I'd still say um, you can um, focus on chapters 2 and 3 in terms of what you need to know for this assignment. Okay, so and as you know, you should kind of scroll through here and see if there's anything else that you feel like you can use to make your site better, any kind of information. So let's look specifically at the guidelines, and these are all important in terms of how I'm going to be grading, because when I'm grading your websites for this module, then I'll just be going through and looking to make sure all of this has been done. So let's start here at the top. You need to have all of these pages. So the home page is automatic on any kind of theme. So that's just basically, sometimes you'll hear me call it the landing page. And the menus should already, most menus should already have home in them. And also any kind of banner that you place or your name at the top is automatically for most themes should become a link back to your home page or landing page. I want everyone to have an about page, and there's more information about that here. Your about page should have your profile photo and a short bio. By short, I mean like, between a full paragraph. You don't need to put like your home address or telephone number, but just about you. And if you want to talk about your hometown or your family, that's fine. And then I want, just to give you practice putting links and text, I want you to have in your bio text, I want you to have at least 2 links. So you could say, I'm a sophomore at Loyola University, Maryland, and you can highlight Loyola University, Maryland, and make that a link to the Loyola website. Or if and you could even say, and I'm a communication major, and then you could link to highlight communication major and link to the communication department website. Or if you're talking about your hometown, you can link either a phrase or a word to whatever, a restaurant or something about your hometown, whatever, to add links. So then everyone has to have a resume page, and on that resume page, I want you to put your resume in text, which basically means, copying and pasting from your resume. And using blocks, the layout blocks or the column block would be good for that. Usually text in or on a website, you don't want it to be too fancy in terms of layout. So you can actually think of Moodle here. So I have a sentence, and then I have a bullets. So bullets are probably a really good idea, and that's just in the general paragraph. Paragraph block will have lots of options for like bolding subheaders or making subheaders a slightly different, like an H1 or rather H2 is probably the right size. So with headers, rather than saying we want it to be a specific size font, usually use the H2 or H3, which are different size header. H1 is usually really huge. And H2 is probably better for most headers, and then H3 would be a secondary header. And then you have just your generic paragraph text. And the reason why we use those designations rather than specifically saying what font face and font size is because the themes generally control font characteristics, so they've already chosen certain fonts that go with that theme. And then also, most browsers have the individuals who use them preferences in terms of how big text should be. And so the browsers prefer that you not specifically say, I want it to be 12 size font or something like that, like you would with a print publication. So instead they use those header sizes. Again, H1 is gigantic. H2 is common for most like large size headers, and then H3 would be a subheader. Okay, so anyway, so it's going to take some time to make your resume look good. I want it to look good on your resume page. And then I also want you to have a link to a PDF version of your resume. And you can use one. In fact, you could put both of them in there, your creative resumes if you want. But right now, one of those, or you can go to if you have a business type resume, then in Word, just go to save it as a PDF. And so that you can add a link, a button that just makes it so it downloads it. And you'll let me show you. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see if Charlie has it here. Yeah, here at the bottom. So in each theme, the resume or the button will look a little bit different. In most of the generic themes, it's often kind of a rounded type button, but that's basically what it looks like. And then when I click this, it would download the PDF. And you can see here, Charlie has been using, this is probably an H3 header here, and he has nice bulleted lists. So I can tell he's spent time making this look good in text on this page. It might be nice if he can use an H1 header to make his name bigger, but he would get full points to this because I could tell he's. And again, the purpose behind this is different than the creative resume assignment where you're really focusing on being creative in InDesign. And here it's just to convey the information and make it look decent in a web page type environment. Let's go back. And okay, so don't forget that. And then I want you to have at least for the final version of this, the final project, I'm going to ask for you to have several portfolio pages. Most people are going to have 3 or 4. And at this point, I'm asking that you have at least 2. So if you want to have 1 page for monograms and 1 page for icons, or put all of your graphics on 1 page and create a second page and throw like a couple articles in there that you've written for other classes, something like that. And and part of the reason is because you have more portfolio content coming for the final project. So that's why I said here 5 pages: home, about, resume, and then 2. And it's up to you to decide what to call these 2 pages. You could have 1 portfolio tab on your menu, and then 2 options, and it could be graphics and icons, or it could just be or icons and monograms, or it could just be graphics and articles, or graphics and photos. So you can have a separate page that just has a photo gallery of photos that you've taken. And again, I'm looking for at least 5 samples of your work, and at this point you have way more. So and so this is like a low number. So you should easily be able to have all of your web banners, your graphics, or rather your icons and your monographs. So you should easily be able to have more than 5 samples. And then make sure you set up your menu. So usually it makes sense to set that up after you have your pages on there. The page contents can still be needing some work, but at least have them created, and then you can set up your menu. And again, some themes will kind of already throw any pages on there in the menu. Others will not. So it kind of depends on your theme, and some have, like in Dana's here, she has two areas set up for menus, and her theme might or might not have already had this set up, because it looked like it did though, because she has the kind of pink bar up here and then the traditional navigation bar here. So she has 2 menus, and it kind of just depends on how your theme's set up in terms of what you will be able to do. And then in general, I want to see photos, links, PDF documents, and there's going to be more of this specified for the final project. And I have obviously given you some specifications. And for these, I mentioned down here, search engine optimization. When you have photos, and make sure you set the alt tags and descriptions, because that's part of good search engine optimization that I mentioned down here. Okay, so when I say here create a custom graphic, it kind of depends on your theme. Okay, so we see Dina's, and she has, her site's set up so that she tells it what her name is, and I'm not sure, it's hard for me to tell if this is text going on top of a kind of a marble image that she found, or she actually created this customized in Photoshop. So if they're given your theme's giving you this huge area for a big banner, then create it in Photoshop. You can start with something that you did from the Photoshop week, or you can start new. Look under where it says theme customization and for banner, and it will usually tell you, if it has a banner spot, it will tell you how big it should be. So you can customize, or you can go back to what you did in Photoshop and choose one. Now, what you did in Photoshop might not have the correct color configuration or whatever else. This theme that she's chosen here, I can't go into her dashboard, so it might have some options for color, and maybe she chose this kind of pink or peach kind of color theme. But whatever she chose, she would have to then go and make sure that this marble background banner that she created looks good, with that color configuration. So maybe her theme had other colors and she chose that one, or maybe it was one that it was just set and there's no way to change the color, in which case she says, well, I like the theme, but I'm going to have to choose a background here that goes well with it. Because if she chose something blue or green, or it just wouldn't look so well with this kind of peach color scheme that that's driving her theme. Charlie's, so Charlie's would just, it looks like his asked for just a name. So this is the name of his site. And it puts it here as a link back to home, and then it gives us area for a kind of more of an icon size, and he's chosen to put his monogram in there, one of his monograms. And then on the other side of his theme, it says, well, choose a big photo and put it here. And so since this is his portfolio website, obviously he chose a picture of himself to put in, and he probably would have had to customize it, go to Photoshop. Looks like it wanted a square photo, and it would have told him what size. And he went and chose a nice quality photo, and probably cropped it to the correct configuration to make it look good in this space. So, what I'm asking for is basically customizing your theme based on what it needs. So some of you are going to have to go and create a custom banner, kind of like Gina did, and others you're just going to have to make sure you put in a photo if that's what it's asking for, and maybe something. This is what I call kind of icon size, because it's a smaller size. It's not like a huge banner like over here that she has. And you'll kind of know based on what the theme looks like of what are the different areas you need to put something in to customize it. And that's all I'm talking about there. For some of you aren't going to have to do a lot of Photoshop work, and I wouldn't say for any of you a lot of work, because after the Photoshop week you should feel pretty confident. And obviously for the photos, any kind of photo that it wants, you would want that to be a JPEG, and for if it's some kind of icon or whatever, like your monogram, then probably a PNG would be the best, and then you just upload it through the theme customization area in your dashboard. And that's about it. So just make sure you touch on all of these aspects of the guidelines, and again, I'm going to be looking for those when I grade. And then lastly, how to turn it in is you create a Word document and paste in the URL to your site, and then also include your tutorial journal for the last 3 weeks of working on the WordPress. And obviously, like I said before, talk specifically about the different chapters in the lynda.com, but also anything that you used that was from up here, and or anything that you found online through a Google search or YouTube search, anything that you found for yourself that you found was useful for doing anything. So include that in your tutorial journal as well. So just make sure you turn in that Word document with the link to your site and your tutorial journal by next Sunday. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go on and have a week of audio editing, a week of video, and then right around Thanksgiving break, we're going to move into the final projects phase for a couple weeks before we wrap up the semester. So I'll see everybody starting tomorrow at your critique sessions. And again, make sure you sign up for a critique session here in the maximum of 9 or 10 in each one. So at this point, consider Thursday at 12:30 to be full. And so the only 3 that have slots open are the 2 on Tuesday and then Thursday morning. So I'll see everybody at your critique session. And if you have any specific questions, at the end of each one of those sessions, I'll answer specific questions that people have, like if you have difficulty, but also obviously you can email me if you need to. All right, so have a great week, and I'll see you at critiques.